Get a little bit of leeway. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody say, answer me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's hear louder.
Good morning.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Listen, I think it's very, very special to be here together with you in this wonderful, wonderful yeshiva. And I'm not stop saying it. I mean, this place is gewaldig. You should be very, very happy and proud. And I see probably there's some parents here as well this morning, or other people that are here. This is a very, very special yeshiva. I have a personal relationship with one of your fellow Talmidim. If I'm not mistaken, your bris was on Erev Pesach, and I was your sandik. So that's a gewaldige schus. Gewaldige schus. And it was in the Yaakov. So I live in Eretz Yisrael 47 years. It's a long time. And I'm at least 47 years old, but I'm a little bit older than that as well. I'm here in Cleveland at the tail end of a trip, which I've been here 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I traveled, and I was in New York, New Jersey. I went to see B'li Ayin Hara. My mother, Shabika Zuttenstark, 92 years old, who lives in Baltimore. She herself is in education. She's been a kindergarten teacher for over 65 years in Talmudical Academy. She still goes, she volunteers every day. She goes with her walker. Someone drives her and she goes take a little kinderlach out for Kriya. She says, why do I have to get a psychiatrist? Why do I have to go to a psychiatrist? I'll just go to work. I'll go to work and everything will be fine. So it's a big, big bracha. I was able to see her. And I also, while I'm here, so I had a lot of get-togethers, kumzitzes and malava malkas and Shabbaton that I was able to be together with Talmidim. And I was in Florida last week. I was a scholar in residence in Boca Raton. And we had also a Thursday night malava malka and a Chol Shmuz. And I met many, many of my Talmidim. And I have to tell you, when you're young, you don't necessarily appreciate who you are. But I do want to tell you that every single moment that you have in this type of environment, in the yeshiva, in your Jewish homes, appreciate those moments. And it's not easy when you're growing up to be able to make your own decisions, what you want to do in life. I always used to say in the yeshiva that there's a difference between being a spectator and being a player. And a lot of times when you're growing up, it's just like a spectator. You know what I mean? Like you go through the roads, you go through the motions. Everyone you know, you go to yeshiva, you go to elementary school, you go to junior high school, then you come to high school. And it's kind of like things you just end up doing. You come bar mitzvah, you get tefillin, but you don't necessarily have your own imprint into who you are. But as you get a little bit older and you begin to find out what it's really all about, and you begin to understand that it's really about me. When I say about me, it's not about the me of the egotistical me, but it's really about myself making my own choices. And I don't know everything about this wonderful yeshiva that you're in, but I can see already the warmth and the caring that the Rebbein that you have. It's a very, very special quality. You should cherish it. And you should learn how to make your own decisions. What really is important to you? You know, davening is not an easy thing. It's one of the hardest things. The Gemara says, it's a davar kasha. It's something. It's an avodah. It's a real test for a person to daven. Even for us old people, it's a test every single day. You got to remember. Oh, I'm davening to someone. Who am I davening? I'm davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Who's the Rebbeinu Shalom? Oh, he's the Rebbeinu Shalom. Oh, he's the Rebbeinu Shalom. Oh, what does that mean? Rebbeinu Shalom. What do those words mean? Rebbeinu Shalom means the master of the universe. He's the master of the universe. Everything comes from him. Besides being the Rebbeinu Shalom, he's also Avinu Malkeinu. He's our father. He's our king. He's the big tati. The big tati. I myself, lately I've been focusing on the fact that before I say the words in the beginning of Shemona Esrei, those magic words that you say, Hashem, Svasai, Tiftach, Kadosh Baruch Hu, open up my lips, Ufi Yagi Tilasecha, and my mouth should be able to say your praises. I just try to focus that I'm talking to my tati in heaven, and I'm asking him, please open up my lips. I can't open up my lips without you opening up my lips. Now, what does it mean I can't open my lips without you opening my lips? I can open up my lips. They're my lips. I can open them. No. Unfortunately, there are people that can't open their lips. And when we have the ability to open our lips, it's only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the strength. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the power to open up our lips. So these are things that I'm just, sharing with you some thoughts this morning, a Sunday morning here in Cleveland, Ohio. What brings me to Cleveland, Ohio? What brings me to Cleveland, Ohio is that Baruch Hashem, I have grandchildren who live here. I have a daughter and a son-in-law. It's a wonderful, wonderful Rav, Rabbi Nissim Abram. You might have gotten to meet him. And their children, Baruch Hashem, they're growing up in Cleveland, and I haven't seen them in over a year. The last time I saw them was a year around this time, and I had to come and say hello to them, and to see them, to be with them, to learn with them, to daven with them, and to see them also growing up. So it's a big schus for me to be here in Cleveland. Tomorrow I'm flying back early in the morning when I catch a flight. Strange flight that my travel agent, who's my son, arranged for me. But I'm flying from Cleveland to Miami, and I'm in Miami for 12 hours for the direct flight, which is going out. So I'm going to be in the airport for 12 hours. That's going to be a whole shtickle matzav over there. But and then I'm going to fly back and land in Eretz Yisrael, and it's come out a week and something before Yontif for Chanukah, right? Right? Yan Chanukah is when? Huh? How many days from now? How many shopping days we have left till Chanukah? Who knows? What was that? It's 2 weeks?
No, 1 week.
1 week. I think it's 1 week until Chanukah. 1 week until Chanukah. So like this. So we spoke a little bit. We're getting to know each other. So I myself, I like to sing. I'm not a great singer, but I like to sing. And Rebbeinu Shalom allowed me later on in life that somehow the Rebbeinu Shalom gave me. He gave me. It wasn't me. I always like to sing Nugunah with the Talmidim. And then when I had a little bit of time in the yeshiva, I came up with my own Nugunim. And then when I had a little bit more time, I came up with some more Nugunim. And one of those periods of time, my good Talmud, Azriel's father, Moshe Sherzin, was then in Eretz Yisrael, and we ended up putting out an album of music, and then we put out a second album of music, and corroborated with a few Talmidim, they put it out. Not the greatest musical effects, but it comes from the Yiddish hearts. So I want to teach you a new niggin that I came up recently, and I hope that you'll help me because I'm tired and I'm hoarse. But I think if we'll sing a niggin together, that's going to help us a lot. And then I want to tell you a story. So if you get through the niggin, we're going to tell you a story. Okay, the niggin goes like this. First we'll teach you the niggin, then we'll teach you the words. The words you're going to be very, very familiar with. The niggin you're not so familiar with because it's the first time you're hearing it. The niggin goes like this. Bam ba dam bam ba dam. Did it anda inda danda inda dai. Did it anda inda danda inda inda dai. Bam ba da 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 da. And again. Did it anda inda danda inda dai. Try to help me. Bam ba dam ba inda dai. Did it anda inda danda inda inda dai. Da 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 da. One more time. Did it da 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 da. Did it da 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 da. Did it da 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 da. And da 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 da. Now comes the high part. Did it da 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 da. Did it da 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 da. Ni na 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 ay na 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 ya na 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 ni na 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 ni na 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 ay na 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 ni na 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 ni na 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 ay na 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 na. Now come the Jewish words. Tovayim lahindais lashem. Tovayim lahindais lashem. Toyle haydais lavav Hashem. Ulezamel shimcha el yoy. Hay tovayim lahindais lashem. Tovay lahaydas lashem, Toyle haydas lavav Hashem, Ulezamel shimcha el yain, lehagid baboyke chasdecha, lehagid baboyke chasdecha, v'noscha Mama Leilos, Hai Nai Na Na Nai Nai Nai, Nini Na Nai Na Na Nai Nai Nai, Nini Na Nai Nini Na Nai, Hai Na Nai 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 Na Na Nai Nai Nai, Tovai LeHaydai Slashem. Come on, guys. Tovai LeHaydai Slashem. Tovai LeHaydai Slavash. Olazamer l'shimcha. Ay, Tovai LeHaydai Slashem. Tovai LeHaydai Slashem. Tovai LeHaydai Slavash. L'shimcha el yai v'hagid v'ava kev v'avai kechazdecha v'hagid v'avai kechazdecha v'noscha v'ava leila yadai nananai yadai nananai yadai nananai Hanai nanai hanai nanai lihagi babayke chasdecha lihagi babayke chasdecha Okay, we lost a few, but that's the price you pay when you try to make a shtickle of matzah. But whoever remained, hopefully. So this is what I want to tell you a little story. So besides the fact that I have been in education for many, many years, and as I told you, now you see a little bit that I like to make up Nagunim and to sing, but also I was Zoiche a few years ago that there's a famous writer in Israel, his name is Nachman Zeltzer. He's a very, very chashuv writer, and he put out my stories about Gedolim that I had a relationship with. From the time I was very, very young, I was zocheh to be in an environment. My late father, Alav Shalom, was one of the Rabbeim in Yeshivas Ner Yisrael. He was from the first Talmidim, Rabbi Ruderman. And I grew up in a yeshiva environment. I was very, very blessed. And then later on in life, I was zocheh to go learn by great people. I was zocheh to learn by Rav Moshe Feinstein. I even drove Rav Moshe Feinstein. I have lots of stories with Rav Moshe Zatzal. And Yibal Chaim Tov Maruchim, my Rebbe, Rav Ruvain Feinstein. And then when I went to Eretz Yisrael, I was zocheh to learn in the famous Mir Yeshiva by Rav Chaim Shulevitz, Rav Nachum Pertzovitz. And then I got a relationship. I'm telling you this, not bragging rights. It just happened to be that this is what happens. Not bragging. It's nothing with bragging. It's big schus. Rav Shach, Rav Elyashiv, Rav Shlomo Zalman, and many, many others. So Nachman Zeltzer heard that I had a lot of stories, and he approached me, and ended up, we collaborated on a book, and the book went out. And I think it's worthwhile to get the book in the library. Anyone that wants to read it, you'll see a lot of the stories in there. So I like to say over stories, because stories give over the human side of the Gedolim. All the Gedolim, each one that I met, and I had a relationship with, they all were not just great Talmidei Chachamim, but they were great. The way I would describe it, someone wants to describe Rav Chaim Shulevitz, great humanists. They really worked on their human behavior, on their character, on their midas tovos. So I'm going to tell you like this. Who here likes to play ball? Raise your hand, you like to play ball. Like to play ball? Okay. So I also like to play ball. When I was younger, I was a good ball player. I was a good ball player. I really loved to play ball when I was younger. And when I was a kid, maybe, who here is the youngest age here is what? What age? 13, 14? 14. So when I went away to yeshiva, I was just 13 and a half years old. I left Baltimore, and in Baltimore I was a regular kid, and I played ball like, 5 hours a day, you learn for like 2 hours a day. And then I went to yeshiva. The yeshiva was in New York. They told me before I got there that there's a basketball court. Oh, so I knew it would be a basketball court. Guys, yeshiva guys, they play ball. There was one thing they forgot to tell me. I got to the yeshiva, and I saw outside they had a basket. It wasn't a full court, but it was a nice basket. It was in the back of the garage with a backboard. And there was one problem. There was no basketball. Yeshiva was like a yeshiva. They put up the prop, but they didn't put up, it's like it's like chont without kishka. You know what I mean? Or, just something like that. It's like having a basketball court without the basketball. It's mamish the most depressing thing for a young kid who likes to play ball. So after 2 days, I was going nuts. I was really going crazy. What am I going to do here? I can learn as much as I can learn, but I got to play ball. I called my mother. I said, listen, I don't know how long I can stay here. And I asked they asked the Rabbeim, the hierarchy, yeah, we're going to get it. But it wasn't a priority. They didn't realize that there's a young kid that it is a priority in his life. So my mother said, don't worry about it. I got it. I'm going to take care of it. In a few days, there's the Mashkiach of Ner Yisrael. His name was Reb David Kronglis. Reb David Kronglis was distinguished Baal Musar from the Mir Yeshiva in Europe and then the Mir Yeshiva in Shanghai. Tremendous Talmid Chacham. I grew up in that house as well. And Reb David was going to come up to visit the yeshiva because he had a son that was learning in the yeshiva together with me. And my mother said, I'm going to put in a duffel bag and put in a basketball. And I'm going to put in other great things that you'll have and cookies and nash and all kinds of good things. And that's what happened. So we were waiting for that day. I told all my friends, we're going to get a basketball. It's going to be great. I'm going to get cookies too. And then the day came. Reb David came to visit the yeshiva. And he came to the front entrance of the yeshiva. All the Rabbeim, many of them were his Talmidim. Reb Gershon Weiss Atzal was the Mashkiach. Yibal Chaim Tov Meruch and Reb Chaim Mintz. Shlita was also a Talmud. And Reb Ruvain was there. And there were other Talmidei Chachamim. And the yeshiva and the Beis Medrash was there. And we came out to greet this great gadol. And when I got close to Reb David knew that he didn't know I had a basketball. He knew that there was a duffel bag. He said, Yehoshua, take your luggage, take your duffel bag. So I quickly took it and ran upstairs to my room. All my buddies were there. And we quickly opened up the duffel bag. And wow, the basketball was there. It was great. Wow. You know what it is when you haven't had a basketball for like a week or two. And all of a sudden you get the basketball. It's like it's like magic. I was holding that leather ball and I had cookies. I was a good guy. I said, hey guys, have cookies, share the cookies. Let's go play ball. The first thing you can do, the first opportunity to go run out to play ball. Now, when you're young, you don't necessarily think everything through. So as we're running down, the way to get to the basketball court was to go through the front door of the building. The building was an old mansion that the yeshiva had rented for a couple of years. And there was a very large wide steps. And there was a very long porch. Long wooden porch. It's important to remember that story, part of the story. Long wooden porch. And as we're going out of the front door with a screen door, all of a sudden my buddies see that what's happening? Oh, the Rabbeim are still escorting. They're being malave the mashkiach up the stairs. So they quickly scattered out in the back. I go out the front door, and I'm holding the basketball, and all of a sudden I see the mashkiach. I see all the Rabbeim, the Rosh Hashivas. What do you do in such a situation? You're holding the basketball like a little bit like, what am I going to bring a carbon of a basketball to the mashkiach? What am I going to do? So what I thought was, the proper thing would be is to put it behind my back. I was a lot skinnier then. I don't know if I actually covered it, but I put it behind my back and, a little bit derech eretz kadmon l'Torah. And then I did a great thing by doing derech eretz, but there's one thing that happened. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that this is what the scene is going to happen. The ball fell out of my hands, and the ball fell on the wooden porch. And this is the sound that the ball made. The ball went like this: boing, 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 boing. I'll repeat it again. Boing, 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 boing. That's exactly what it sounded. It was so loud. It was like the basketball just went, basketball bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced. And what was the reaction of everybody? All the Rabbeim, everyone, the yeshiva guys that were around, everyone started laughing. It was just a funny scene. It was a funny scene. It was a funny scene for everybody. There was one person who wasn't a funny scene for. Who was that? It was the little boy, that young boy who was carrying the ball, who wanted to do the right thing, and now all of a sudden it's so embarrassing. It's what's called busha. There's a concept called busha, embarrassment. I learned a little bit about the midah of embarrassment when I was a young boy. I mamish felt embarrassed. I don't know if you ever had that feeling. You shouldn't have that feeling, but the feeling of embarrassment is such a difficult feeling, and it really affects us. And guess what? There was one person that didn't laugh. Who was that person? The Mashkiach, Reb David. Reb David was the consummate Baal Musar, the person who worked on his midas. And instead of him reacting like everybody else, he was able to have control. He had self-control. He didn't laugh. He didn't crack a smile. Everybody else is laughing. Everybody. And he quickly turns to me and he said the thing which saved my life. He said, Yehoshua, gain them the ball and spiel. He says, Yehoshua, go take the ball and play. He went and he saved my self-confidence. He said, I know that he was saying these words, I know that you're a kid and that you like to play ball. And the ball fell out of your hands. Don't feel embarrassed about it. Go take the ball and play. It saved the day. Reb David saved the day. The boing, 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 Rabbi Isai, was just a story of my life. It wasn't something which defined who I became, because the great tzaddik who work on themselves was able to see what's really important. I share this story to a lot of kids, and you know what? Even to adults, because we're all little kids inside, and we all want to be adults. But we have to first remember many, many lessons from this. Number one is, embarrassment is not a good thing. Be careful not to embarrass anybody. Person doesn't want to be embarrassed, not to embarrass somebody. You don't want to be embarrassed yourselves. That's a very, very important trait. The other thing is that person should learn self-control. Not every time when something happens should we react. You know, you have friends, kids falls, the game, everyone laughs, this and that. You don't know what's happening to that other person's self-value. We want to make sure we keep that important. This next thing is that when you're young, you should do the things that kids do. And at the same time, you grow into who you're going to become, as we said in the beginning, to become your own player, to recognize, you know what? I was given a purpose. I was born into a family. I'm continuing the legacy of the Torah that was started at Har Sinai. And you're very, very fortunate to be in such a wonderful, wonderful yeshiva with such wonderful rabbeim. So I give you a bracha. It's about breakfast. I guess breakfast is going to start now, right? Breakfast is about to start. I want to give you a bracha mitzvah Hashem. You should be matzliach in your avoda here, in your growing, in your learning, in your English studies, in your playing of ball as well. Mitzvah Hashem, we should be zocher to not only a good week, zocher mitzvah Hashem to the Gula Shleima. We should see each other in Yerushalayim, Kodesh, Mehev Yameinu, Amen, V'Amen. Have a great day.